Welcome to Strength and Knowledge Podcast. We're the three best friends there ever was. Wait, Aaron, where's Sam?
I think he had a surgery. I could be correct. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sam had a surgery. He is down for a couple days. When he returns, you guys will be the first to know. So today it was just the two best friends, the original, some might say, the high school
Dynamic
that
duo.
dominated Sam and his high school, the dynamic duo. We are the two to go. Today we're just going to talk about some program design that Aaron's looking at right now with his high school athletes. And I think this is going to be an interesting podcast. Let us know what you guys think. But Aaron, go ahead and take it off, buddy.
I'll go ahead and share my screen. You want to go ahead and let me share my screen, Mello?
Oh, I have to give you allowance for everything, dude.
Yeah, you like my dad.
Allow to. I'm just gonna make you the host. Does that just make it easier? Change host. Technical difficulties.
All right, so Mello, can you see that?
I can see that, dude. Hopefully
All right,
everybody else can.
We'll kind of just talk about, picture back in 4 years ago, we're back in Iowa, sweating summer, swatting out some flies and bugs because those bugs were crazy in Iowa. And we'll just act like we're sitting down on a sad day after a nice little chore of William Penn University as a side job as security guards. And we'll try and do some programming for the summer. My mindset is I'm reading a lot of Cal Dietz right now. Diving in some of his manuals, what my buddy gave me. I'll say, it's probably not the best thing, but I'm just now getting into triphasic, just now reading it and all that. I kind of got curious.
Too late, right? Never too late.
Never too late. I got curious because I've been RPR and, it's that witchcraft you say, but, it's some stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I've had triphasic for a while and I'll start reading it. And one of, on triphasic, he talks about his undulating block periodization. That guy got me thinking of, summer's coming up for my high school, how I want to train because I want to do something different. We did a lot of my off season. We did 5-3-1. Then this past, if you call it winter to spring, we're doing a lot of tempo work. So that kind of got me interested in the triphasic because we're doing a lot of eccentric with some isometric pause. Like our squats are 5-second eccentric because I'm translating them into back squats. So they're 5-second eccentrics, 1 second pause in the box. Then same thing for our bench. Our bench is 3 seconds with a 1 second pause at the chest. So that kind of got me interested in, maybe I can throw a little triphasic once I get a little more knowledge on it. And like I said, I've been reading triphasic. I've been reading a lot of his manuals. I'm going over the high school football manual right now. And it kind of got me with his block undulating periodization. And it kind of got me curious. And, now I'm going to ask you for help is kind of thinking and see what you think about the program, what I kind of got right now. It's just very brief at the moment. As you can see, that's all I got right now. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's what we'll lift for the summer in the high school. And I want to go Mondays moderate. I kind of took that from Cal said he switched his high volume day from Monday to Friday to allow his athletes to have that weekend to recover. But, I've also heard, a lot of kids, even at the college setting, and I'm trying to think what NFL strength coach I remember from podcast, he said he used to always squat on Monday, but then you realize his athletes were never recovered. They always come back from the weekend kind of like sluggish. So he switched that Monday instead of squat to like a moderate bench day to like moderate intensity. He said then the next day he would do his high intensity squats. And he said it was a game changer. So, especially with our experience, I love squatting on Monday. My personal experience, as we say, our training age, our training experience impacts a lot of what we do in strength conditioning. So, I love squatting on Monday. We had a coach who said they love squatting on Monday. So we had that thing. And now it's kind of following that. I think I'm going to end up squatting our guys on Wednesday. See if I stick with it. But right now, I think that's what I want to do to give them that weekend. Because like I said, Mondays, it's going to be Monday in the morning, 6 a.m. They're going to come sluggish. I can do Mondays because as I prioritize my eating, sleep, and hydration, sometimes these high school kids don't do that. So I want to do our moderate intensity day on Monday. The lift is going to be bench press. I'll probably do like a full body day. I'll probably follow a similar tier system. So I'll have like even though it's not technically tier system, but it'll be full body. Like bench will be our up body emphasis. Would have a little, maybe like a Nordic curl for a low body. Then, we always jump or do some type of med ball, whatever, total body in a workout. So I'll probably have that for our main lift. Then percentages, I just use relative intensity. So with being moderate, I'll probably have the hypertrophy cycle. So anywhere from like 6 to 8 on that. Possibly even 10s. I really don't know how bad I want to mess up the kids with volume. We might do 10s on up body. Who knows? Might do 10s on squats. Might stick it to 6 and 8s. I'm not 100% sure at the moment. But with sticking to that moderate intensity, I'm thinking like change of direction, lateral work, because when I think high intensity, I'll go on this on Wednesday. I think like linear sprints. I think just flying 10s, whatever that is. When I think high intensity, I think linear sprints. So that's why I kind of threw in the change of direction, the lateral work, push move, crossover move, stuff like that on the medium intensity day, because as I mentioned, high intensity to me is linear sprints, sprint as hard as you can. Then on like a volume day, I think tempos. I don't think of sprints or change direction. I think of tempos when we come to volume days, because you can get a lot of volume in tempo work. So that's what I'm thinking. Do you have any thoughts or ideas what I can write down about that? We'll kind of just go day by day.
Oh man, I got so many. I mean, obviously, I think the first thing that I thought about is I think you brought up a great point of just how sprints are high intensity days, because I mean, some people could make the argument that it's vice versa or whatever, but I mean, if you think about change of direction, I mean, it's all technique, right? So you need to hammer all the technical work and making sure that they're doing a good job with all the technique. And then if you want to sprint fast and run fast linearly, what do you got to do? You got to run fast, right? I mean, that's what everyone always talks about. But so I thought that was like really good, spot on. I mean, the first thing I think we should kind of address is why the 3-day split. Is that just kind of based off your guys' schedule, or like what do you think there?
Just schedule. To give me a break, to only give me one day, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, kind of
Okay.
just how we've done in the summer.
Right. I mean, I think that's a conversation I think most people are gonna like look at this and be like, oh, why isn't he training 4 days a week? Why isn't he doing 5 days a week? Whatever. I mean, I just heard today that one of the colleges that's local here is training 5 days a week in their off-season program, which I mean, everyone's gonna have a reason behind why they do something, and I think if you have a solid reason on what you're doing and why you're doing it, then it's a good reason. So, I mean, honestly, I really like it. I think the intensity wise going into that is really good. I mean, Monday I always want to squat, so it's hard for me personally to get away from squatting on Monday, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. I remember watching that podcast too, and
I think it was Aaron Wellman who was with New York Giants, but now he's at Indiana.
yeah,
I think it was him.
yeah, because I mean, even then it's just like, yeah, he makes a valid point, but then we had a former boss that kept telling us that it was a good indicator. I mean, they squatted on Sundays the day after a game, and
Yeah,
it was a good indicator to see if there's any lingering issues, like any kind of injuries, low intensity, small intensity injuries, and then going into concussion protocols and all that kind of stuff. But the design of this, I mean, usually you're still going to go like before, you're going to do running Monday, Wednesday before the lift, and then Friday do
so
tempos after.
I kind of forgot to mention that, but Monday, so like Monday, Wednesdays when we do our sprints and change direction, we hit our dynamic warm up and we'll go right into our sprints or change direction, then we'll lift. On Fridays, we'll probably hit a dynamic go lift, then we'll go out to the field for our tempos.
Right.
Kind of going on into Wednesday, it's another thing. I've always cleaned on the day I benched. I don't know, just kind of how I always had it. And then, but like when I think of high intensity, I think cleans are up there. I remember that kind of diagram what I shared my screen on when Joe was talking, Joe D'Amato, and it was the motor units used, and that clean was one of the top few. So when I think of high intensity, I think of clean and squat. So that's why I kind of have those paired together. I'm gonna be interested to see how long that takes of cleaning and squatting in one workout with a lot of kids in a small weight room. So that's gonna be, I'm curious on to see that. Just for time shrinks. So I'm kind of curious on that. But as I'm kind of going on Wednesday, like I said, high intensity day, clean squats, 75 plus, same thing. I'll have 6 to 8s for this cycle. Probably like a 4 week cycle of just getting as much mass as I can, throwing as much volume at as I can. Then, like I said, when I think of high intensity day, I think of linear. I'll think of 10-yard sprints, 20-yard sprints, 30-yard, 40-yard, flying 10s, flying 20s, 5-yard, 10-yard building, whatever it is. That's what I think. So that's why I kind of put it on as a high intensity day.
Yeah, as soon as I looked at this, I put down a good CNS day for Wednesday. I really like, doing cleans and squats together. I think it works really well. Just, I mean, the low volume, but really high output for the cleans. And then you can really get after it with squats. And then just doing like a total body trap bar and overhead pressing on Friday. I mean, I just liked all of that too. The one question I had for Friday was, my biggest, I don't know if it's an issue per se, but even back when we were at Pella, like, it's hard for me to go below 60%. So when you say below 65%, what's like the lowest that you're kind of looking at?
I really don't know at the moment because right now, like I said, it's gonna be 8s and 10s.
Yeah.
Probably trap. I could probably get away with 8s on trap bars. Like overhead press, same thing. These kids, get good 6s and 8s and 10s. Like it's gonna blow them up. So especially like I like to do is if I want to do volume instead of like having like a pyramid up, I like to just kind of stick, let's say whatever it is, we do 4 sets of 8 on 1 week and when it's at 45%. The easiest way to see improvement to have the kids, all right, next week 50%, next week 55. Just that little bit of jump is a great way A to get a ton of volume in. Then B, have the kids be like, well, I did more last week. Well, if you stay at the same weight for all sets, the next week we bump up by 5%. I shouldn't hear well, I did more last week. Well, then you didn't follow the program. So that's kind of like how I like to do my volume instead of kind of building, instead of doing like 12, 10, 8, like pyramid, whatever, or build up to a top set. Sometimes on the volume, because it should be a low intensity day, even though it's high volume.
Right.
The weight, I don't think it should be a top set because I feel like a top set would be high intensity. To keep it at like all 4 sets at the same weight and keep it low intensity with it just high volume, I think that will be more manageable, especially for the trap bar. Joe kind of hints it, I think, on a podcast. It was just him talking to me. The trap bar is easier to get more volume in than a regular deadlift. So that's kind of how I thought about that because I would like to do because I always do, like I said, when we went to Pella, on Fridays, we did our RFEs. If I'm truly want, I'll probably have obviously I will have some single leg work in the program, but if I am true doing a hypertrophy program, what do you think will get more of the goal is what I want? Is it going to be an RFE or is it going to be a trap bar? Probably a trap bar. So that's why I kind of threw that in. And let's say I only do this cycle for 4 weeks, and maybe I do, I don't know, like a peaking phase or like a transition phase into an in season. Yeah, I might take the trap bar out and do a split squat RFE, whatever I want to do to make it into I don't want to say more athletic, more sports specific, but just more of a single leg dominant movement.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, let's backtrack real quick. I mean, you brought up a great point. They'll go into 45, 50, 55%. God, it's slipping my mind. What is that called? It kind of goes like this and deload. Linear. I think that's.
We ain't deloading. We ain't deloading here. We ain't deloading.
No deload. Just going.
No
just
deload.
going. I got you. 4 weeks of just getting after it.
We're just going.
Linear style. I love it. No, I think that's good. I think like tempos, I'm huge on that. The one thing that I kind of been getting into as of late, it's just like metabolic stuff for
Yeah.
conditioning. But getting towards like the season of doing that, and I mean,
Yeah.
if we're talking like just football, we'll do a lot of 10 plays really fast as we can get them done, and then give them like a 2-minute break, and then hit another set of 10. And we'll do a linear one, we'll do generic, which generic would be like, linear, we'll do 10-yard sprints, 20-yard sprint, not even sprints, I guess, just a solid run, but 10-yard, 20, 30, 40. And then generic, we'll just do a bunch of different stuff where you can mix in your change of direction and your sprints. And we'll do, 10-yard sprint, 20, 30, 40. We'll do like a 5, 10, 5. We'll do some zigzags. We'll do a bunch of different stuff where they just kind of get moving and moving and moving for 10 plays, technically.
Yeah.
And then 2-minute break and then going to the next one. So I've been getting really into that. But tempos, I think, is a really great start. And surprisingly, I mean, a lot of the NFL teams that send us their conditioning, it's a lot of what do they do? Two sets of 10. So if it's big guys, they do 40-yard sprints. Medium, they do 50, and then skill guys do 60 yards. They have to do 10 of those. Then they have like a 2-minute break, and then they do 10 more, and that's like their conditioning when they get back
Yeah.
in August. But so, I mean, tempos are always great. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty solid. I mean, you talked about like unilateral lower body. You'll probably do some more like dumbbell bench on one of those days too, I'm sure. Or you just that overhead press or what?
The main thing I'll probably have on every day is some type of same thing. Goes back to the space, how many kids, right now for my classes, we do some type of chin up every day. On Mondays we do an isometric hold. On Wednesdays we do eccentric. So I tell the kids, I don't care if you can pull yourself up, just jump up there, lower yourself for 3 seconds. And on Fridays we just do regular chins. So right now probably have keep that same structure of chin ups. But then, like I said, I know I'd like to have a tier system-ish emphasis of, if we bench a Nordic curl, it's probably going to be some type of total body jump. On Wednesday, since we got cleans and squats, will probably be some upper body emphasis paired up with that. Fridays, overhead trap bar, probably do a single leg, some chest supported rows or something like that. Keep it easy. But I haven't really thought about the accessories because right now I'm just trying to get the idea out. That's why I kind of wanted to mention to you, just kind of have the idea and get some brainstorming, see what else I can think of.
This is gonna be 4 weeks of eccentrics.
Say that again. What was the?
Are you gonna do 4 weeks of eccentrics, or are you gonna do just hypertrophy?
I might. Like I said, I'm still kind of diving into Cal and see kind of if I have time to do a triphasic. I really only have 11 weeks. It's not including the probably 2 weeks I'll do as a general GPP because I'll give them a week off before we start.
Mm-hmm.
And since this is quite a bit of volume right off the bat, I'll give them 2 weeks GPP introduction phase. So it really gives me, 9 weeks. And if we do this for 4 weeks, then I'm guessing 4th of July cuts out a week. Who knows? So I'm still kind of trying to just lay it down and think of it. I think this will help them with a bunch of volume because all the kids want to do is if they go home or whatever, they do 1 rep maxes of everything. So I think volume will be at the end of the day help them A, get size on them, then B, they can get pretty strong because they are so young and still growing.
What about, have you thought about any like PAP or anything like that?
Right now we do some PAP, we squat, then we do our hands on hips jumps. I've been thinking about doing med ball throws with our bench. We just don't have enough med balls, and our med balls are really hard. And I've been thinking about telling the kids if we mess around, we'll never touch a med ball again. But they're like really hard, so they're not like the squishy ones where if you guys mess up, it probably will hurt if you drop it on your head. So I've been thinking about that. The trust factor isn't 100% there yet.
You guys have cement walls in there or no?
Not really any space.
No,
And these
okay.
are the ones who like bounce back, so somebody's not going to pay attention, it's going to bounce back, hit their head. Then there's no really place to put the bands to do like band assisted push ups.
Mhm.
So I've been thinking about that, but
That's tough.
we'll probably do PAP with our either cleans or squats on Wednesday because same thing. You think high intensity, you think PAP.
Right, same.
But nothing. I'll probably throw in a little bit of that. Nothing crazy. I don't. I'm trying to keep it as simple, and I'm still trying to dive into what I want to do specific per team. But I know I need to do some tweaks for different teams, different athletes. But at the end of the day, they're 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. And if they're just consistent, they will get strong.
Yeah, I mean, what's that saying? Train like a Viking. What do you always say?
Train like a Viking, man. Yeah. Train
No, what do you
consistently.
say?
I
Yeah,
can't
there
even
you
put
go.
me on the spot. Train consistently. Train like a Viking, train consistency. I can't remember the last one. Train hard. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like train hard, train consistent, train like a Viking or something like
There it is. See, I knew you'd follow along.
that. I'm a big Instagram follower, I mean, I'm your guy. Try to like every post I see. No, I think that's solid. I mean, you know me, talking about triphasic and Chaldees, I'm big on the eccentrics. I do eccentrics in season, which is pretty unique. I don't think a lot of people do that. I remember, going into the regular football season, telling Sam that I was doing that with the football team. He, was kind of shocked and didn't really understand why, because, eccentrics are going to tear up the muscle. You need a little bit more recovery time, whatever. And then, Pella knocked the brakes off of Oski. And then on the way back home, Sam's like, so what are you doing for eccentrics in season? And
I hope he sees
you
this. I
know,
hope he gets another hernia when he's screaming at the computer.
oh, that's not gonna happen. Love you, Sam. Love you.
Maybe
Hope you're
he'll
feeling
get on.
better. Hoping you're feeling better. Get better. But yeah, man, I think that's solid. I think that's a good start. And love to hear what people think about the program and try to spark a little bit of conversation, get some
No doubt.
thoughts going. But thank you guys for tuning in to Strength and Knowledge Podcast. We'll see you guys soon.
Everybody wish Sam a speedy recovery.
Love you, Sam.